Back to reality. Back to reality. The first loss of the season. Carlton, 8 goals, 14-62 to the Gold Coast Suns. Too good. 13 goals, 14-92. That's round 4, done and dusted. We waited all weekend and we were left bitterly disappointed. It was not good. It was not good today. And some may say it's a reality check. Well, we'll see what everyone says. Welcome to the round 4 fan cams. We're going to chat all about that game. The good, the bad, the ugly. Obviously, a lot didn't go our way today. Really keen to see how everyone saw the game today. I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that we're disappointed with that. But I'm really keen to see what everyone's perspective is. So without any further ado, let's see what everyone thinks. I'm going to put the link in the comments shortly. If you want to join in and have a chat and share your thoughts on the game, please do. But I'll get a couple in first. Pommy.
Back to life, back to reality. Fuck me. I tell you what, I'm not used to feeling this forlorn, really. I don't know about anyone else. I've enjoyed the last 3 weeks. Where do you start from that game? I mean, I think my biggest takeout from that and what is really worrying me is take away our corridor, take away Carlton. Gold Coast did that impeccably. We talk about it in the scout report that we put up. You've got to get the ball on the outside against them. They love the corridor football. And you know what really does scare me is Mick wrote that article saying that Carlton are a stoppage side, centre bounce side. Their turnover football today was fantastic from Carlton, 55 points in the end. And it's almost like we totally forgot about our centre work. And that is my biggest alarm bells. TDK, he was trashed today, let's be honest. He was killed by Wits, but Wits did what Wits did. Drop the ball at the front. Right, that's all he does. He just drops it. And we had no plan for that. And it got progressively worse in the 4 quarters. And that is my 2 big alarm bells are them. And because that's coaching. And Pitterneck could have been there, yeah, but the mids would have had to have been there. And the mids were always coming from behind at them key moments. And once that happened, it was game over.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't seem to be able to mitigate the dominance of Wits all game. I know Silvani went in there for a bit. I think the first half, I think the whole game, Tom was probably beaten for the majority of the game, if not all of it. Silvani goes in there, plays a little bit more, as a heart and soul guy as he does. But ultimately, Jared Wits is a good ruckman, especially when you're matching him up against either a ruckman who's not really a ruckman in Jack Silvani, and who's more of a makeshift ruckman, or a young ruckman in Tom de Koning who, it's a good lesson for him today. I think it was a good lesson for all of us today. And whether we needed it now, I don't know who subscribes to that, but we definitely needed to, be drawn back to the reality of this season and the AFL in that no game is a gimme, ever.
No game is a gimme. And I mean, Voss we're going to learn a lot about Voss now, because I really thought that last week with the issues of last week and particularly the last half, I thought this was the week that Voss would make some adjustments, but he just didn't. He just didn't do it. Do you know what I mean? He didn't make enough adjustments for me, and I thought that was showing. It also felt at times in the live chat, were absolutely brilliant. We talked about it a lot. There was a real sense of they were devoid of energy. Yeah. And it really translated when you looked at some of the mistakes that Carlton made. And it's obvious today who stood up. Sard and Doc were brilliant at times. Yeah. But the energy levels of the boys was out. And that's something Voss is going to have to put his finger on. I don't think they went into this game thinking they'd win it at all. I don't think anyone's that stupid in the AFL. But they certainly didn't look at the level required. They looked very devoid of energy. Even before Cripps looked devoid of energy. before he went off, who's usually a barometer, and they just simply were better. Like, I hate to say it, but that is a problem. That is a problem. One thing this side has shown, whether you think we've changed or not, was their commitment. Their commitment in game to cling on and fight. And that is a huge concern. No scoreboard pressure today. And we didn't have that to hide behind, and simply exposed. And a lot of work to do for Port, because they're going to be hungry. They're getting panned. They're getting panned as well. But that's my major concern. Did Carlton react to them turnovers? They did set up a lot deeper behind the ball. I don't know if that was... I don't know what that was for. I hope it wasn't to try and improve the transition. That's what worries me.
Yeah. I think last week we saw CJ really carve us up off half back. I thought at times today, what was his name? His name escapes me. Was it Weller? Thought his run and drive off half back. I think it was Weller or Will Powell, one of the two. They look very similar. Anyway, the long story was that the way that we got cut up, very similar to last week. And you and I spoke about when we lose, what's going to happen, how are we going to be able to respond? Because obviously it's been 3 wins. We've been in heaven. It's been la la land. It's been great. It's been Kool-Aid. But the real test is now as to when you lose, when you get the feedback from the coaches, and ultimately how you respond. I'm very frustrated, but I'm not devastated. I will wait until next week to see how the group responds from this, because today was obviously it was poor.
It was very poor. I mean, structurally it was poor. Effort-wise, it was poor. It's obviously, I said it at halftime, we're not the finished article, and we don't want to start thinking we are. But a lot of work for Voss to do, and a lot of work for them players. And I tell you what, Pitternet, let's hope he's fit ASAP, because that looks like a massive, massive, massive cog here. But they're going to have to respond. We have to get behind them. It's going to be a huge test, though, because you've seen the fans have started to turn. The media are definitely going to start to turn. So now we're going to see character from these boys. And that's something that he said. Character. Do you know what I mean? A lot of work to do, but I'm more than confident Voss can do it. He's got them better already in certain departments, but he'll have learnt a lot today. A lot today.
Absolutely. We learned a bit in a loss last week, a loss that some may say we were lucky. I think Vossi even said we were lucky to get it. So we'll learn a bit from last week. We'll definitely learn a lot about today and what's going on. And ultimately we look forward to the response. That's what it's got to be.
Got to stick fat. We would have all taken 3-1. Do you know what I mean? We would have all taken 3-1 at the start of the year. Now these boys have got to get it 4-1 next week. Yeah,
no, spot on. All right, mate. Well done on the watch along today. I'm sure that wouldn't have been easy. And I don't know how you do it.
It's the wonderful fans in the audience. Much love to you all. Every one of you dropped in. Love you all. And I'll see you next week.
See you, brother. All right, I've just put the link in the comments, guys, the StreamYard link. I can see everyone's trying to get in. It's limited to 12 in the waiting room, so just kind of wait until someone jumps out and then click it again. We'll be here for a while, so you'll get a chance. Ari.
Oh, mate.
How's reality?
I don't know. Did anyone keep the receipt?
No.
The lid? Because we need it back.
I threw the receipt in the bin.
I mean, I wasn't obviously frustrating and annoying and angry at the effort, but a lot of overreacting has been happening. I can see already. And I know immediately after the game, emotions are high, but like Pom said, would you have taken 3-1? I think everyone would have taken 3-1 at the start of the season. And for me, it was one of those games where everything that we did went wrong and everything they did went right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, make no mistake, they were challenged. They would have been challenged heavily after their first couple of weeks. Some of their efforts, they would have challenged themselves for sure.
Yeah, and I'm seeing as well a lot of Teague's game plans back, etc., and all this stuff about Teague. And when I want to say something. Right? When you and I'm going to relate this to Arsenal, right? Your favorite Arsenal theory, right?
Yeah.
When a new manager comes in or a new coach comes in, it takes time, and especially when you're under pressure and you're panicked and you're challenged, instinct is to do what you always knew. And with Arsenal, a year and a half ago, like obviously now you're flying, right? Maybe not last night, but you're playing really well because Arteta has finally instilled that game plan fully. A year and a half ago, you were still, you were managed by Arteta, but there was still a little bit of Emery in that team. Just like now, we're coached by Voss, but there's still Teague in this team. And especially when you're under pressure and emotions are high and you're not really thinking, that's when like that really comes to the fore. And we saw against Hawthorn when there was like earlier on in the game against Hawthorn, when there was no pressure, we played brilliantly. Now we got challenged and we resorted back to what we were doing for the past 18 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, some positional changes at times. I mean, I'm looking back now. I know it's straight after the game, so the emotions are still there, but the backs were under a lot of pressure. I thought the four half-back flankers, Doc, Sard, Williams, and Newman, I thought they were pretty solid today, given how much pressure they were under. And, did we really drop the bundle when Cripps was out? I mean, I wasn't panicking when he was gone. I still think we've got plenty in there, but ultimately that midfield I even said it, I thought our midfield was better than theirs pre-game, but our midfield got outplayed across the board, including the ruck. But we just weren't able to find that same energy. I mean, the thing is we've seen our best over the last 4 games now, so we know what the bar is in terms of the application. It just wasn't there today.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like you said, the 4 half-back flankers, I think you can add Lockie Plowman in there. And I'm seeing a lot of people give him shit, but I thought he was very good today. I mean, I'm assuming he played on Rankin, and for the times where he played on Chol, I mean, can you really blame him for being 10 centimetres shorter than a ruckman and getting outmarked? Like, you can't. That's not his fault, right? And I thought he did well on Rankin. I thought he went in hard at the contest. I thought he was very good in that aspect. Yeah. I thought Williams was one of our better players. I thought Sard was very good as well. He was one of the only players who was giving us energy. I felt like we were very stagnant, especially ahead of the ball. Our forwards weren't really leading up. A lot of times we got out the back of a contest or we got a clearance and we had nothing because Charlie, Harry, DeConning, or whoever it was just wasn't moving. So it was frustrating, but I don't think there's need to panic just yet. Obviously, Pito going out, not pre-game, but late than what the team was named, would have had an impact. Cripps losing a captain, losing your best player for the first 3 games is going to have an impact. Like if you think it's not, then I don't know, but it definitely would psychologically at least. And I just thought we got, it was one of those games where everything we did just didn't seem to click. I thought Kennedy had his worst game in a long time. I thought he was very poor. But then again, how good has he been for the past 6 months?
Correct. That's right.
You can't expect everyone to be very good all the time. It's a bit like it's unrealistic, right? So, what were your thoughts? I know.
I mean, look. Yeah, we're 3-0. We were 3-0, but I was saying it the whole time. Like, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
There are still plenty of inconsistencies. And I think losing Pito and then Cripps just kind of exposed, it's probably one too many. Obviously, we've lost a couple of important pieces as well. We've brought new guys in that are, still very raw in their careers and their times at the Carlton Football Club. And it was coming. We were closer to our first loss this morning than we had ever been this season, whether it was today, next week, or whatnot. It was coming. And I think I'm just keen to look forward to the response. I'm not glossing over the loss. It was poor, but the same inconsistencies and things that the opposition were able to expose of us last week and the week before in the wins showed up today, and we lost today. So, I'm not. Exactly. I'm just. It's a long season. We're 3-1. We haven't done anything yet, haven't proven much yet. Plenty of respect to earn, all of that. And we'll get back on the track and Port Adelaide next Sunday in a massive game. Massive.
Yeah. And that's where we got to look. We got to put this aside, quickly and just address what happened, but look to Port because last week probably papered over the cracks because we won. I think there's no denying that. It's just instinct to when you win, you think, oh, it wasn't that bad. But if we'd lost, it would have been like, oh, it was a catastrophe, just naturally. This week we lost, so now there's the real reality check. And now we look to next week against the Port team who would be, I mean, there's another team that's under the pump big time. So they're going to bring it. And if we fold, also one other thing, I thought we were complacent. We kicked the first two and we thought, oh, we're going to cruise here. We got punched and we didn't punch back. So
yeah,
hopefully just another step, another hurdle to go over, another lesson to learn. Voss has only been coaching 4 games. We're not going to be world beaters just yet. Everyone relax.
True. I'm with you. Well said, mate.
There we go. The rest tomorrow or Tuesday.
I think tomorrow's the day. Yeah.
Done. So watch that. Give it a like. Give it some love, and we move.
We'll chat then. See you, bro.
See you, bro.
Liam.
Barry.
How are we?
I'm all right. How are you?
Not as good as I have been, but
No, I feel that.
Not as bad as I have been. So
No, definitely not.
What did you think?
I want to start a little golf term. It doesn't matter how good your best swing is, anyone can flush it. It's how bad, how good your worst swing is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like anyone can hit a golf ball good, but how good can you hit a golf ball when you don't hit it good? And that was today's game. Was we didn't play well, but we didn't play well. If that makes sense at all, like it was a bad game all around. There weren't many shining moments in the game. We can't sit here and say that, oh, but we done this right, we done that right. It was a game to forget, really. It wasn't a good, bad game. It was
comprehensively beaten
bad
in 4 quarters, really. That's really, comprehensively beaten. We had some, passages where the effort indicated all of that there, but ultimately the execution was just not all day, apart from a couple of little passages. So,
I mean, it'll be a good review on Monday, but at the end of the day, you can't win them all. And to sit here now and say you can't win them all, isn't that a stark contrast from 18 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Like, ain't none of us sitting here saying, oh, we can't win them all. We'll sit near fuming at a loss like this, especially against Gold Coast. But now we'll sit here, we'll cop it on the chin, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you fall, it's how you pick yourself back up.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I mean, these relationships with the coaching group now are now going to go through their first proper test, because you're not really tested until you lose, and you're getting that feedback, and then you're needing to pick it up quickly and not let one loss become 2 losses in a row or 3 losses in a row.
Exactly.
And
you're right. You go.
Yeah, go for it.
And like I said the other week on fan cams, you don't learn anything from winning by 10 goals plus.
Yeah.
Like today, our players would have learnt more today about themselves, each other, and the game plan than what they had in the last 3 weeks by winning.
Mm.
And hopefully that will hold us in good stead come round 18, 19, 20 and beyond.
Yeah, it's true. Are you thinking swing the axe in terms of selection, or are you kind of thinking, let me give it one more week?
Sorry, my dog just knocked a bottle over.
Sorry.
Yeah, I could see a bit of a wielding of the axe. There are a couple players, and especially with today's VFL performances. Stocker had 35 disposals. Phil kicked 3 goals. I could, and that's the best thing. And I said to a couple of mates today in a couple of chats, like, the best thing about the twos performing is you can't sit here in the AFL best 22 and be complacent in your spot, because there is a lot of pressure coming from underneath.
Yeah.
You know, from all reports, I didn't watch the game. I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't look at the stats all that deeply. Dow apparently had a good game. And I saw Stocker had 35. Hey, sit down.
Yeah.
And everything. So it's good to see that there's pressure coming from underneath because there's no complacency in the best 22. So you've got to take that as it comes. Like if you're a fringe player, your head's on the line.
Yep. Point.
I could see Stocker coming in next week. For who? I don't know. I thought Plowman had an all right game today, so it'd be a bit rough to drop him. Newman had an all right game today, a bit rough to drop him. Even O'Brien had a good game today. Like it's hard. I'd hate to be a selector at Carlton at the moment because of the pressure coming from underneath.
Yeah. No,
but
well
I could see a couple of changes. I'm just obviously not in the position and don't have the knowledge to make those calls myself.
We're going to find out. Thanks for tuning in, Liam.
Not a drama, mate. Have a good one.
You too. Dean.
Can you hear me?
Yes, mate.
Another roller coaster game like last week. That was first 2 goals going great, and then after that, I couldn't really see us winning. After that, it was just a bit of one of those games where, as he said, you want to forget. The only thing that I'm interested in is just how players were acting. Like even somebody said it before, they just look down. I don't know if that's just some of us, but they all look down. Even after when Cripps was playing there, like you said, he was just down. So just got to see how that pans out. I hope next week we can respond because that will probably show how hungry we really are if we respond next week because as last year, if we would lost one of these games, we'd probably go on to lose 2 or 3. So you want to, if you have a tough loss, you want to back it up next week. But as people are saying, you're 3-1. You can't be complaining, to be honest. Obviously, we've had those momentum swings and those goal swings where obviously the wins have paved over the cracks. But as people are saying, you'd rather be learning with 4 points and 12 points on the board than losing, being 0-4 right now, like what you used to be. I just thought Zach Williams was good today. He's had a really good season so far.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think I saw some people trying to go at him early. I thought it was probably his best game for the club. I know we've lost, so you don't want to be talking too much about who was good and whatnot. But I really did think that he stood up when it got tough, and he was not one that I was worried about today. That's for sure.
To have 36 disposals, obviously 31 kicks, and he did have the 7 turnovers, but our defense was on pressure all day. All day. Like there was not one moment in the game other than those first probably 2 minutes when we kicked 2 goals that our defense was not under pressure. And people are trying to bag Plowman, O'Brien, Setterfield. They're all playing their role. You can't complain. And as the guy was saying before, in our VFL, since we're all playing so good in the VFL and we're top on the ladder at the moment, players like Philpy, Dow, Stocker's going to come back in hopefully. We've got a bunch of players to come in, and I think this game also showed the importance of pitting it. Our midfield is at its best when we've got Pitt in it here. And Tom DeConnick, he's still learning. You're playing against Wits. He's one of the best ruckmans in the comp, in my opinion. So it's going to be hard all day. But he never gave up, which we do like. I just hope that it doesn't turn into one of those 2 to 3 loss patches and we can respond and have a good game. That's all I hope. And I hope Cripps doesn't have a long-term hamstring injury because that would suck. That would suck. But he looked, I don't know if it was precaution. I don't really know. But, just hope that our injuries can get a bit better and we respond. That's all I really wanted to say.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Thanks for coming on, man.
All good, Spirit. See ya.
See ya. Kareem.
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you, bro. What's up?
What's up, bro? I thought we were poor today, mate. I really thought we were poor. I don't know if it's because I'm midfield without pitting it. Jeez. I think, what's the Gold Coast ruckman's name?
Jared Witt.
Yeah, I thought he made the Cunning look like a boy today. Real baby.
I think it was a lesson for Tom today, and he's going to get him. He's at that stage of his career where it's not like he's ready to dominate the competition just yet. So he's on like the other end of that where he's got to learn the lessons along the way. And I think today was one of those.
Yeah, it just proves that. I think it was the start of the season. We were thinking the Conning was the number one ruck.
Yeah,
Ahead of Pitternet. So just proves how much of a big loss he was. Yeah, I thought we were just not in the game today. I thought we were just dead, like everyone else has said. I was watching Pommy's stream. He was right. Like everyone's just dead. No hype, nothing. After a goal, everyone's just dead. I don't know if that's because Cripps went out and midfield might have started thinking, oh no, our captain's gone. Like they're coming at us now, Gold Coast. Like I don't know. I just felt like we were dead.
The league is tough. It's a very tough game. Getting one win is very hard. Getting 2, 3 in a row is even tougher, and getting 4 in a row and 5 in a row is even tougher. And the energy levels are going to dip from time to time, and we're never just going to be up and about at the top of our energy collectively every game. It's just not reality, especially with our group. We're just not Melbourne, where when we're not so good, we still win. We're not quite there yet, and obviously the first few weeks, it's all been about earning respect and, Doc playing again. We've had like these different emotional factors to play with. And now we're well and truly in the thick of the season. It's like, welcome. Now the hard stuff comes again. And, we've got a very tough opponent next week. I know they're 0-4, but if we don't come out with the energy that we need to, we'll lose again.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's just me, but every time our midfield goes down. I don't know. Even at Hawks last week, midfield went down, game switched. Second half against the Doggies, game switched. Like it seems like I know it's early, game starts getting in, like it's getting in and everything, but it's like if the midfield don't do good, the game switches a bit. So mate, can you see me? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So mate. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like the midfield keeps if the midfield's not at its A game, things can shift real easy.
It's true. A big lesson indeed. Let's see what happens next week, hey?
Yeah, cheers, mate.
All right, man. Good to see you.
You too.
Ugur with a generous $80 donation. Didn't watch the game, but hopefully we bounce back next week. Thank you very much, mate. You're far too kind, always. Paul Sebastiani.
Cheers. How are you, mate?
Mate, today started perfectly hearing you commentate and just was watching that and listening to that thinking, how good's this? Like, you're just really happy and proud for you. And
thanks, mate.
I know that the club is bigger and all of that, but I just want to start off by saying well done today. You were fucking sensational. You really were.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was one out the quaddie up there in the grandstand at Metricon Stadium. It was good fun. I thought it was. I had to use the old noggin. Had to use some initiative when you're calling one out. I thought I may as well just get people involved with the Twitter feed because no one else was going to interact me. It was just interact with me. It was just me, myself, and my shadow. So it was good fun. Good fun to start the day. Reserves got a big win, but where do we start with this game? Probably the word that comes to mind for me is disinterested. There are a lot of blokes out there just look like they look like there were a million other places they'd rather be than out at Metricon Stadium tonight. Yeah. And look, I guess if I think at the start of the year, if you had said 3-1 after the first 4 rounds, you'd probably take it in a heartbeat given the fixture we had. And this darn place has not been a happy hunting ground for us for time immemorial, to be honest, mate. It never has been and probably never will be, to be honest. So we were bullied from the onset. And, it's I don't know if embarrassing is probably too harsh of a word at the moment, but I think our reliance on Cripps in the midfield is unhealthy, I think is the word to probably use. And I know Walshy's sort of coming back off the ankle and all that, but he just hasn't hit the straps of last year and the year before, I don't think so. But, he's going to work into it. It's absolutely no knock on him at all. But, I think the midfield got brutally exposed today by a Suns outfit who were just, sorry to say, but they were just too good. And they find another one who bobs up that we've never heard of in Roses.
We always seem to do it. We always seem to put guys on the map, new small forwards or halfback flankers dashing from defense to offense. We seem to always find them for the other teams.
Yeah, look, he did have a really good game for the Suns in the NEFL last week. I think he kicked like the last 2 goals to win them the game. So he does have some sort of talent, that Roses. But yeah, I don't know if it's people go, oh, lack of a plan B, but that's just nonsense talk. That's just nonsense talk. That it's not like all coaches have a plan B. It's just a matter of if that plan B, C, and D actually work. You know, they pulled the cogs. You know, they had to put Silvani in the ruck. And I think that was my concern, was taking Jack away from where he'd been playing so well for the first 3 rounds was going to hurt us a lot today. That was my big worry. And our inside 50 tackles were well down on what they had been prior. You know, Durden going out of the team doesn't help with that regard. And I'm really, really, really disappointed in Matt Kennedy and Adam Chera tonight. Really disappointed. I thought they were outgunned and outdone. And considering the start to the year that they both had, I thought they were very, very disappointing when they needed to put their hand up and stand up under pressure. And they didn't today. They needed their big mate around them. And look, it's not good enough, mate. And another player I've got the crosshairs on at the moment is Jack Martin. I thought he was terrible tonight. You know, for what we pay and for what we want out of him, I don't think we nearly get enough of a return on investment from a guy like Jack Martin. I don't think so. Too flash in the pan. That's his problem. He doesn't influence the game for long enough. So yeah, very, very disappointing.
Yeah. Are you in the camp of make 2-3 change? I mean, Cripps, I would assume because he didn't finish this game, he might be out. But are you in the camp of give him one more chance, so to speak? Some of the guys that underperformed, or are you in the camp of you've got to make selections, get on the front foot?
Well, I reckon Jack Martin's on the precipice anyway. I think he's on the cusp and has been for the start of the year. And I think he's one to probably make way. And look, there's a host of players that you could probably make. You know, Setterfield was okay tonight. I mean, he's sort of one of those players that's always, you know, potentially dipping in and out of the team. Fogarty, he presented and he tried to play that high half forward role, but it just, you know, he hasn't got that match winning ability or factor, does he? And then, you know, maybe a guy like Plowman comes out for maybe Stocker. I mean, I don't want to angle in at Plowman or like slam him or anything like that. That's not what I'm doing. But he doesn't. Players like that he just doesn't offer anything. You know what I mean? Like he can't lock down defend because he's not big enough to go with talls. He's not small enough to play with the small because he's not fast enough. He just doesn't. He can't win his own footy. He's just plonked on the field, and he's a defender there, and he doesn't. I don't know what we get out of him. We don't generate any run from him, and I just think he's just. I think a player like him at the moment, with where we're at in our development and the phase of where we are with regards to the club, I think we need to move on from a player like him, and I think Stocker's going to be the guy to come in next week for him straight away. He was fantastic in the reserves today. Yeah,
he was, and like you said, he wins the footy. Stocker, he's able to win the footy, use it well. Plowman's obviously. I think Plowman focuses on defending first, which is fine. But then when he does have ball in hand, in this league, you need all your back six to be able to at least use the ball and create something. The good teams do anyway. So
Simon Prestigiacomo retired a decade ago, mate. So you know, I mean, you need to have a few more bows in your string, or a few more strings in your bow, if that makes sense. But no, it's. I don't know if is it a reality check? Yeah, maybe, or maybe we're just not good enough, because I think Port are going to come out very hard next week. Don't forget that, and
that's
they're going to get a few wins too from what we hear. You know, Alir apparently has made the Lazarus type recovery, and apparently Robbie Gray's going to come back. So that's going to, you know, and he loves playing against us. Oh, does he love playing against us, Robbie Gray? So look, it's amazing. A week is such a long time in football, as they say, and it's amazing how you're on top of the world at 3-1 and at 3 and zip, and you can just in the blink of an eye, we could be 3-2 and on the cusp of falling out of the 8. So I think this and what this game is eerily similar to that 2012 loss to Essendon when Carazzo went down. Instead, this time Cripps has gone down. Do you feel like the momentum's just been completely halted? I feel it. Personally, I feel it has.
I feel like it's a reset, and it's like, all right, do it again. It's because like 3 in a row, great. You have your loss, and then it's like, how quickly can you get back on your next run? And before it becomes 2 losses or 3 losses in a row, that's how I'm looking at it. I am looking at it tonight, high level more than what I am zeroing in on this game. And I think if we lose next week in a bad manner, in a manner like we did today, with that lack of energy that we showed in the first couple of rounds, then I'll probably be a bit more, not panicked, but actually I'll panic. I'll panic.
I think panic mode definitely has to set in.
Yeah.
I think as a club now, with the stage that we're at, we have to move on from, Cripps isn't in, we can't win. He's not in, we can't win. Pitternet has, De Conning can't really go with Wits. It means we can't. You just got to be smart.
Yeah.
You just got to be smarter and better for longer. And at the end of the first quarter, I just looked around and I go, it just doesn't seem to be a real. There's no energy. There's no one really wants to step up in the heart of midfield and take the game by the scruff of the neck. We don't really have any. When you look at the maybe outside of Walsh, but I don't think he really has that match-winning ability. Like the midfield, like Cripps went down, there's really nothing there. Like it's just there was no drive or no generation of handball chains that we'd been so used to seeing. So look, I don't know. I mean, I hope for the love of God that it's only a blip on the radar. But Port, Freo, and Kangaroos in the next 3 weeks. This is going to tell us what this club is made of now. This 3-week block. You got Port who need to come back off a rebound, and they've had they're going to have some injury luck. You think they're going to have a few blokes back. Freo over there, tough trip, and then North here. So it could be 3-3. Who knows? I don't know.
We will wait and see. We'll wait and see. Great stuff again today, mate. We'll definitely speak to you.
Definitely. JP, we're probably going to record tomorrow night. So hopefully Tuesday at 8 p.m. it'll be out. But this trip out of the Gold Coast, the flight couldn't come any quicker tomorrow, put it that way.
Well, you get home safely, all right?
Oh, no worries, guys. Have a good night. See you, mate.
Ciao. Mark.
From one great to another, mate. Again, just wanted to shout out to Paul for his commentary work for the Gold Coast Carlton VFL. He called that game very well, actually. A few La Bomba fantastic calls, and just shout out to that. Let's talk about the game. Go for it, mate.
You go for it, mate. I'm here to listen to you.
So we've just experienced our first cut to the body. So, they just simply outworked us. They obviously wanted it more, and I'm just hoping that this is just the beginning of how do we bounce back, because we know Gold Coast do tend to start off the season pretty well, although of course it has been good for us too. But look, I'm actually pretty speechless, to be honest, Terry, because I always tend to think of something a bit different from all other previous people that always come on in the fan cams. But look, I mean, the first 2 goals, then you're thinking, all right, has the ego mind of all of our players kicked in again? Well, it did this time around. And look, all I want to really say is, look, obviously let's not panic, because in years past we would, and we've always had habits of the one loss becomes 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, no. Look, I still believe we are a different group. Port Adelaide are definitely struggling at the moment, and yes, we know that They did make a prelim last year for a reason, but it is an opportunity on Easter Sunday to get their respect back. Sorry, back. Sorry, I slurred the words there a bit. But we don't forget the 1995 Illuminati, 19 unanswered, and the 95-point drubbing. So we've still got unfinished business against teams that we obviously lost to last time to make up for. So definitely not panic stations.
Yeah, we touched on the midfield just now with Paul, and obviously Cripps goes down. In my head, I'm thinking, well, there's still plenty there. Kennedy's had a great year so far. Someone like him or Chera or Hewitt will be able to get in there a little bit more than what they would anyway. I actually thought George Hewitt was outstanding today. I didn't think he was one that shied away when things got tough. I thought he was pretty good. I thought maybe Chera and Kennedy just weren't as influential as what I was hoping they would be when Cripps went out and they had that opportunity. And, we got beaten pretty soundly through the middle. And that was just not something, I just didn't see that coming. I did not see our midfield getting beaten in the way that it did today. I know Cripps was out and he was injured and that happened, but I still thought we had plenty there to cover. But then we talked about the energy and just wasn't the same spark for the 4 quarters that what we've seen really from the first preseason game. So, I guess we're going to find out over the next few weeks. Was it just one of those weeks where you cop your loss, you regroup and you go again? Or is there something that's coming to the top now? Because I think the ruck situation is a bit of a red flag now.
Well, I mean, does Alex Murkov get an opportunity? I mean, now we've got to really utilise the VFL boys into getting an opportunity in the AFL. Look, maybe still another month or two away. Look, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think we've still got to back with what we've got. But in saying that, hopefully Pitternet does come back on Easter Sunday ASAP, especially against Lysette. That'd be another tough battle as well for a DeConey, especially body-wise. He will have the aerial game on him, but it's how he combats physically around the grounds. But, look, it'll be interesting.
Very good.
Look, look, what I will say as well, oh, geez, I am really losing it tonight, Terry. I mean, this is just crazy. I mean, you normally just think would roll away with another 4 points. But, look, I'm glad that we lost to the Gold Coast now rather than obviously later in the season, because we know that club always just faints to the point into the latter part of the year. But I just hope that for their sake, they don't end up finishing in a bottom 4, because we do speak about that. If you're going to be playing finals, you never lose to the bottom 4. If you have the odd loss to teams against 9th to 14th, which I probably think Gold Coast is around that bracket, maybe even 10th to 14th, then we'll live with that. They'll have that 1 week where they just look superior, and then the next, which, mind you, they play St Kilda at Marvel. So there you go. There's going to be a reality check there, but we could be wrong. Could be wrong.
We'll see how we go, mate. Thanks for tuning in.
No, good, mate. See you all next week. Go Blues.
See you, mate. Go Blues. Nathan.
Hey, Tez. How are you?
Been better.
Look, I mean, I've heard a lot about sort of reality check tonight, and I thought the reality check was last week. I sort of, like, after full time, I wasn't happy for some odd reason, but I think just the next step for us is, I mean, I'm sort of stating the obvious, but beating those teams we should be. And the reason I think that reality check was last week is, look, a team like Hawthorn, where we saw today, they got pumped by St Kilda, who I think are at the same level that we are. So to be up by 40 points last week and not really put the foot down, I thought that was really disappointing. And I sort of came out of that game and I was really, I don't know, upset in a way that we're close, because, a lot of, in the past couple of years, we've got to that point. We haven't got to a point where we've been 40 points up against those type of teams. So, it's just right there. And I wasn't too surprised today. I mean, I said in my preview, I was like, out of all games, this is probably the one I'm most worried about, because they're really competitive, Gold Coast. And they remind me a bit of us going back to 2020, where, like, we were competitive each game, but we wouldn't, like, we just didn't have that killer instinct to get over the line. But, I mean, today they did. So, look, it's good to be winning, but it's just a bit frustrating that like we've actually improved a lot, but we're still lacking that real killer instinct to make an impact and beat those teams we should, to just make a bit of a statement. I guess Richmond and Bulldogs are very still good statements, but you look at teams like Hawthorn and Gold Coast, and I just think we could have done a lot more from those games.
I just think talking about those teams like we should beat them is the issue, is one of the issues. We should be beating anyone yet, because as far as I'm concerned, we haven't proven anything yet over the course of a full season. You know, I think the reality check part comes in the sense of we lost. That's the reality. Last week we didn't lose, so obviously gave up the run of play, outworked positionally, just weren't there today. And the reality of losing and being off this undefeated high is where I think the reality check comes into play.
Well, I mean, like sort of what you said about there's no expectation to, we shouldn't be expecting to beat anyone. When do we expect to beat someone? Because that's where I think
when we do it for a season and we actually
really,
make the finals. I think when you make the finals and then you're saying, all right, well, we've made the finals, and then that year after we're looking to make that top 6 or top 4, whatever the case may be, then you look at, games like this. But, the Gold Coast Suns were a team that could beat us, and any team can really beat any team in this comp on any day if you're that little bit off. And I think today we were more than that little bit off, and we got exactly what we deserved today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of happy it came now, the loss.
Yeah.
I feel like although now today I'm very nervous for next week. I always get worried against Port Adelaide. Our record's not too great, so it'll be very challenging. And yeah, like you said before, I was laughing at that. I will be panicking if we lose next week. I really will be.
Same. I'm calm now, but I know next week if we put in that same effort and lose in a very similar way, then I will, I'll give them a chance to respond because of what they've done over the last couple of weeks. I thought, all right, let's see how they go after a loss, because we've had a pretty good. It's been more than the last 3 weeks. It's been the preseason games. We've been pretty solid there as well. So the bubble has burst, but we're going to try and fill up a new one, I think.
Yeah, it's just been good to see, at least in the reserves as well, being consistent. So,
yep,
it's still better than we expected.
For sure. Good stuff, mate. Chat to you soon.
Easy. Cheers, Tez.
See ya. Christian. Can't hear you, brother. You got to turn your...
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
That's better. How are we?
We're getting through. We're getting on.
Getting through. Yeah, well, interesting to see, like some of the points our good old Carlton supporters have made, but I think I'm a tad worried compared to everyone else.
Okay.
Just a bit more. So a couple of things looking at the game. So looking at our, first month of footy's done. So now we know where we're at. Like you were saying, first month of footy's done. So we're 3-1. We'll take 3 wins any day. That's already a third of what we won last season. Take 3 wins any day. And we've had a scrappy win last week. We scraped through. Although I'm a bit more worried because of how we've dropped off and the flaws in our game. So one thing that isn't sitting right, I don't know if any other supporters have seen it themselves, but I'm personally a bit worried about our entry for inside 50 at this stage. It happened again tonight. Rebound off halfback absolutely demolished us, Hawthorn, in that second half last week. And I found again tonight, we had no one through the middle. Gold Coast worked out our game plan. I thought Stewie Dew coached really well, personally. And I think Mitchell did the same last week. They were ready for that bomb inside 50 and they just killed the ball, rebounded off halfback, and we're getting caught behind the ball. I think that's a real problem in our game at the moment. Another thing I'm worried about too is, all right, we lost Cripper. I felt the same as you. I wasn't stressed because we got Matt Kennedy in there. Big body, is a contested ball.
Yep.
And then you got, George Stewart and Ches, they do crack in, but they're more of your running mids, and you got Walshy in there too. So I wasn't worried when we lost Cripper. Although tonight we got some great talent in the middle, but tonight we got schooled
Yeah.
by the Gold Coast midfield. And look, great learning curve for TDK. Witt's, a big boy. Yeah, he did smash him. Although I thought that, we're only 14 points, 13 points down at halftime. And I said to my old man, I said to him, it feels like we're down by 5 or 6 goals, but we're in this game considering. I'll take a two goal deficit at halftime. But yeah, there was just no one that kind of said, look, let's take charge. Cripper's off. What are we going to do? What are we going to change? So they're my worries at the moment. And as well, I know we've been really big around contested footy, and it's great to see that we're cracking in. I think we're ranked 1 in clearances in the contest. Can't remember where I saw it on one of those shows last week, that we are ranked 1 in the comp, and we're ranked, I think, 14th last season. Although, despite if our contested footy goes, well, if shit hits the fan, like for example it did tonight, what else in our game plan is appealing? Are we a high pressure team? Can we rebound off half back? Can we force a turnover? Can we use Sard? Sard had some great bursts off half back, although I feel like at this point we're so dependent on that contested footy. And then when that kind of, when for example, the Gold Coast midfield get on top, well, where do we go from there? When we get challenged, yeah.
I think that's what we're going to find out. I think we don't know. I think that's what we're going to have. I think we can, early in the piece of the season, we can probably say, yeah, our contested ball, when it's working, is a tick. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there's something else we need to uncover with what we're able to do when that's not going our way. I think you're spot on.
Yeah, so that's the big challenge. Port next week is a huge game for me personally now.
Massive game.
For our club. Our club, massive game. They're going to come out peppering. You're going to see the steam coming off their heads next week because, played a prelim last year. They've been up there. They've been scrutinised, Port should have made the big dance, this, that. They're under pressure in good old South Australia. So they're going to come out hot. And as well, I know you mentioned the selection kind of, how supporters feeling about selection. Do we kind of make a statement like what happens with selection? And I wanted to ask you, what is Zach Fisher's role in our team?
I think as a half forward that plays spurts in the midfield and sort of helps chop out.
Yeah, because I rate him. I love Slippery Fish. I rate him, but I feel like he's struggling to find his place and the ball a little bit at times in the team.
In what way? He had 18 touches today.
He played well tonight. I don't know.
He's averaging 7. He's averaging 18 on the season.
Yeah, I really love his pressure, and I love his, I love Fish. I reckon he's great, but I don't know. Like he was kind of like in the midfieldish kind of fatigue. Like he's still there now. He's like that half forward pressure. Like I think he's really good, but like I feel like he's potentially there's still more room for growth with him.
Yeah,
I feel like he could just tear up that forward line and be that really good crummer. Like as well, we did struggle. Like our back line was depleted too. Like McGovern's a huge loss for our rebound off half back.
I think also when Cripps goes down, you probably need Fish more in the midfield more than what you want to have him. So it's just one of those games. I don't think today was the day to go at Fish by any means. I thought he was
not at all.
Definitely not. Far from our worst. But mate, great points. Really, really appreciate you bringing that to the chat.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Chris Beach.
Hey Terry, how we going, man?
How's reality? Sucks.
I should be used to it considering what we've had to live through the last few years, but here we are again. It was a nice change for once. Been 3-0, and now we're 3-1.
Correct.
So, yeah. Look, first things first. We're going to take it obviously because how many years in a row have we been 0-3, and then thinking, righto, we're all Debbie Downers now because we're looking for we're still looking for our first win, which is what Port Adelaide will be doing this week. Yeah. So, we've got to get ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be rampaging next week. in a really weird way, I was saying earlier today, I just what a stitch up having to wait for the last game on the Sunday. I think in this case it'll be a positive because we'll move on pretty quickly and be thinking about Port Adelaide tomorrow or maybe Tuesday. Obviously, don't want to skip over what needs to be fixed because there's a few things now over the last few weeks that have popped their head up. We started to lose a few more players now when the depth is really starting to get tested, and this is a really good test of what this group has and what the system has to offer. This new structure and this new system that we're working within.
Yep, exactly right. And Terry, you'll know as much as anybody else, even the Port fans. But those Port players will be hurting.
Yeah,
right? They've gone from a pretty bad game against from last week to losing a showdown after the siren. So there's going to be steam coming out of them. And you've been keeping an eye on the Port fans through their video creation, content, whatever. But they're hurting as much as them. So really, this is going to be one that we need to be careful of. And by God, I hope we actually are on this week against them, because if we aren't, look out.
Oh yeah, I mean today was the lowest energy level that I've seen from the group since preseason collectively. So even their body language at halftime, going into the change rooms, just almost defeated. I didn't like to see that. I didn't like to see them not give up, but just we never really put that scoreboard pressure on. We did come at them a little bit in the third. Then we gave away the 250-meter penalty goals, and then it's kind of like, well, goodness me. So it was a good point made. I forget the gentleman's name just now. He was on just now, but about our forward entries, and it's got me thinking, because in those first few weeks, I just remember seeing Owies and Durden especially lowering those eyes, making those low bullet kicks inside 50. The last two rounds now, today and last week, it's just been long and high again. So is that a focus thing? Is it an instruction thing? I have a feeling it's a focus thing, and it's just a composure to be able. And I mean, only the good teams do it. That's the truth. The great teams, the top 4 teams, the top 6 teams, are the ones that when the heat in that midfield's on, they're still able to lower their eyes and hit up a lead. I'm trying to think now who marked a ball on the lead after the first 2 goals. I'm just struggling to remember too many of them, but plenty to work on.
Exactly right. I mean, at various points, I don't know what they were doing. I mean, it was like some of them were looking for a surfboard and looking for a wave out at Surfers Paradise or anything. Like, they thought it was going to be that easy.
Yeah.
And we knew what we were against, because years gone by, it doesn't matter if it's been down here or if it was up at Metricon like today. The Gold Coast have always been known to show some determination against us, and it pisses us off because we think, oh yeah, no problem, blah, 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 bang, bang, goal. Nope, that's not what happened today. And Chol was one of those examples, because we thought he was going to stay quiet at Richmond or at Gold Coast, and look what happened. He kicked 3 today.
That's right. That's right. Are you forecasting any changes?
Yeah, I am. I don't know what they are at this point, but I'm probably looking at maybe 1 or 2 players at this point. But you know what? There's probably going to be more. And I'm hoping Voss is looking at them in the eye and say, look, boys, our 2s absolutely spanked the Gold Coast 2s today by 50-odd points. What are you going to contribute to this side that'll make me stop from bringing these guys in the 2s, who are doing their jobs better, by the way, to bring them in instead of you guys? What's stopping me from doing that to you?
Yeah, it's a good point. We're going to find out, Beachy. We will find out soon, my friend.
Thank you, bro.
Good on you, mate. Zach.
Mate. Oh, that's really annoying, that loss.
That's really annoying.
Really annoying.
Very annoying.
It's a bit of a weird word to use on a footy game, but it's just annoying considering where we've been the last few weeks.
Yep.
It's just, you were hoping, I didn't expect an easy win, but I guess we were kind of all hoping for just a win, just so we can keep our momentum going. And I think I said a few weeks ago on the Richmond fan cams when the midfield was fantastic. I said the midfield is only as good as the service that it gets. And you look at the service that Witts was giving to the Gold Coast midfield, they could have had no bodies in there and they still would have got the clearances that they got in the end because of the service they were getting. It was just, it was on a silver platter pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that our best would be better than Gold Coast's best, but we were not at our best today, and they were. So we got the L that we deserved. I really can't begrudge the result in terms of did we get what we deserved, because we absolutely did. Bit lucky last week as well. Footy has a really funny way of making things right. And I don't think if we had have won the game today and it was a tight one again after being down the way we were, I wonder if that would have been even more of a false pretense. So we are where we are, 3-1 next week. Sweating on whatever happens with Crippo and Pitto as well. We need to get him back into the team pretty quickly, it seems, because especially when we come up against the bigger ruckman in the league. And I think if you look at a Scott Lycett, he's a good, solid, he's a premiership ruckman, So I'm just mindful of Tom and him being that number one ruckman for a full game. Maybe not just yet, but we'll see.
And you know what? Like, I understand the pressure's there on the midfield, on the forward line, on the back line, but I just felt we were really, really rushed. As the guy a few fan cams ago said, going inside 50, you can have the best tall forwards in the world, that they're not going to mark if it's just been chucked on their head. There's just, there's too much pressure, and, Gold Coast got numbers back and our smalls couldn't crumb anyway. And when they got the ball from half back, they rebounded quite quickly. It was a bit rushed. It was a bit like uncomposed. It was just, it wasn't like a clean game. Like there weren't many accumulative minutes where we were on top and playing actually the way that we wanted to play. We were still kind of playing their game, even when we had that kind of 10-minute patch. Might have been the end of the third. We still weren't on top throughout the actual game. We were still playing on their terms.
Yeah. It's well said, mate. Good stuff.
All right. See you soon.
Speak to you soon. J Barbs with the 5. How does the team that beat Richmond, the Dogs, and the Hawks in the first quarter anyway still play like that? Come on, Carlton. We're better than this now. Yes, I think we absolutely are. Tyler.
Hey, Terry. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Could have been a bit better, a bit of win if we won that. But, well, things happen. But I just wanted to say, like, a few people have already brought up the forward line tonight. I think it was pointed out a long time ago, and one of the pioneers of this was Nick Rewalt. And if you compare between Gold Coast and our forward line, was you play in a box, you move around a box, and then you have more chance to make a lead. Whereas if you look at how it was being bombed in, and straight away, like that ball was never going to be marked in any case because they were just standing stagnant. And as well as that, but just a few handballs with kicking as well, like floaters. So like they were just going to get out marked anyway. But well, it's a big lesson. Big lesson. I'm not too worried, but losing Pitto, big loss for that. But I think as you were saying about selectors, I think you might have to give Murkov a bit of a go, I reckon, actually, because he did pretty well in the twos, I think.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I just if Tom's not ready, I don't think Alex Murkov is ready.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I think Alex is just. I think he's just doing a really good job of just plugging away at it, and I'm just mindful of getting him in too early, just because we're overreacting to Tom's game today.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm overreacting, but
I'm saying I'm mindful of bringing him in because of 100%.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just feel like ever since we've lost, you can even argue Casbolt, because Casbolt was our second ruck for a time, and then you had the likes of losing Phillips to Essendon and all of that. Our ruck's been a bit exposed for a while.
Yeah.
So, and you noticed because I watched a little bit of the Essendon game today, and he did really well in the ruck today. So Phillips, we've lost a key we've lost a key pillar for the ruck, because we're relying heavily on Pitternet, and you lose him, and we haven't had much of like extra oomph in our ruckman for a bit, but you learn. But Jack Silvani was absolutely he's having a ripper of a year. Absolutely. Sard did well. Williams did well. I just feel like we just need to base and it was mentioned like how we looked deflated and all of that, but there was one key point. It was more like we were letting the ball just come to us. Like when it was on the ground and all of that, the players would stop and wait for the ball to come to them. They weren't running at the ball. There was no pressure and drive to run at the ball. Like when you look at Richmond and the Doggies match, we were hungry. We were attacking the ball every chance we got, and that was not who Carlton really is today. We're not ruthless. We haven't been ruthless for a very long time.
Not yet. We are trying to work towards
we
being
are
that.
definitely trying. But
no, mate, it's very good. Very good points you brought up. I do appreciate that.
Yep. But otherwise, bring on next week, and hopefully we can get the job done against Port. I think we can, but it's going to be one of those games where it's like, well, the doubt starts to slip in, but we need to just go, no, reset, go again. So
well said, mate. Very, very well said. Good on ya.
Right. Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Yo, my man.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
You can?
Yes.
Okay.
How are you?
Very disappointed. It's this game. I think that, we went into the game thinking we're going to win. Easy 4 points. And it just didn't work. We weren't hungry for the ball. Gold Coast had nothing to lose. So we're just going to Metricon Stadium thinking, easy 4 points. And, we weren't hungry. There wasn't much teamwork. Everyone was disconnected. Like, it just looked deflated. Like everyone's been saying. It is true. Like, I've been as positive as I can. Like, I'm not trying to be negative, but it's the truth. Like, I can sit here and say that we're positive, but we weren't. Everyone looked down and, out of the game.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, we've seen the good now over the last few weeks. So we've seen their energy levels up and about. So you could definitely see it was
Hey,
you there?
Oh, go.
I said.
Oh yeah, the good. Yes, they're good.
Never mind.
And as I was saying, Carlton, I think definitely the stoppages were one of the big things that wasn't in our favour. There was 4 stoppages to us and 28 to them. That was definitely, we weren't really taking advantage of the stoppages, and especially the first 2 minutes of the game, we had 2 goals. I thought at the first 2 minutes, I was thinking, okay, we might be in for a ride, but then straight away, bang, they got ahead of us, and they ended up, looking like they were going to control the game, which they did. But what doesn't make sense is, how do we beat 2 good sides or 3 good sides, Hawthorn, then we beat Richmond, and then we beat Bulldogs, all like that, and then we come to Gold Coast and lose like that.
But are they a bad side?
Pardon?
Are they a bad side, Gold Coast?
I can't hear you. I
You there,
can't hear
bro?
you on the stream.
Can you hear me?
No, Gold Coast isn't a bad side.
Okay.
Gold Coast isn't a bad side. It's just like, basically, I think we just went into the game thinking that we'll win it easily and take the 4 points. It's about, I know football is a game where you can win, you can lose. It's all about the mentality you go into the game with. People, look at the St Kilda game today. Hawthorn played good against us last week and then lost today. It's all about the hungry, if you want to be hungry.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say that because this is the tough part about the league. Just because you beat Richmond and the Doggies doesn't mean you're going to beat the Suns today. Because you're right. If you don't bring that same respect as what you brought to the round one game, you get found out. I just think we got found out today for not bringing the right intensity for 4 quarters. So yeah, no, mate, that's good. Appreciate you coming on, bro.
Do you reckon that, what's it called? We was very disappointed that every single forward 50 we got was just a big bum in the forward line. We weren't lowering our eyes and kicking the ball. That's one thing I noticed too.
Yeah.
And also, be honest, if we've been keeping honest, Zach Fisher and Paddy Dow, if you're being honest, they need to go. I'm not trying to be negative, but it's the truth. Everyone else is saying it. They're really not doing nothing productive. They're not doing nothing productive.
Paddy Dow.
There's better players in the VFL that can deserve a spot. They're just getting outworked, and they don't know how to, there's people that can take their spots in 1 second. I've just had enough people saying they're the best and overrated. They're really overrated. I'm not trying to, shit on them, but it's the truth.
All right. If you feel that way, my man, then you are entitled to your opinion.
Last year they played way better, but this year I think it could be the new plan.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. All right. I'm going to let you go.
But Dale, I liked him last year.
Hold up. My man. Can you hear me? I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate
I can hear you on the stream, but I can't hear you on here.
All right. I'm going to let you go, but thank you for tuning in. I think we're having some tech issues there. Oscar.
Hi, Tessa.
How are you?
Good, how are you? I'm not happy.
I'm all right. No, I'm not happy either.
It's just sad the way they got all the clearances out. Like they've got all the tolls. They got Chol, Casbolt's a toll, and then they got all their rucks, wits, and then we just didn't put up a fight.
Yeah, we were lethargic today, weren't we? Yeah,
I switched it off after they took the front and then kept on putting it back on and off, depressed.
Mate, you got to keep that game on. I know it's tough, but you got to keep that game on. You got to stick fat for them, Where
what my dad was saying. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say where we've come from over the last few years, being really dysfunctional and bad to watch. Today was pretty bad to watch as well, but we've come from a long way away, So today was just a bad day.
Totally agree, but my dad said something really funny. I've been at all the games and we've won all the games. My dad said that I've been at all the games. It's just luck, and I'm like, no way. I'm the person who believes in if you've had a bad loss, you can bounce back from that. But it's a Carlton side.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to bounce back next week?
No.
Okay. You think we're in a bit of trouble?
Yeah, I reckon we'll finish 6th, home final, then lose by 100 points.
All right. Well, I hope that doesn't come true. I hope that we finish 6th, though, but I hope we don't lose by 100.
Thanks, Tessa.
Love it. Good on you, mate. All right. Zachary, you here? Zachary's not here. No, he is here.
I'm here.
Zach, what's happening, man?
I got 3 things to start off.
I can't. Yep, go for it. You're chopping a little bit with your video, but yep.
I think that we just got dominated in the ruck because we didn't have Pepito in the ruck.
Yep.
And I think we just slacked off in that last ruck. Our midfield wasn't working. But I think next week we can bounce back. We just have to believe in the group. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've seen a pretty committed, contested group since the preseason. They've been pretty hard at it, and today they just weren't. So we just got to hope that it doesn't become 2 losses in a row, right?
Yeah. I just want to say a few things. Some adjustments Voss can make. I think I'm not trying to be harsh on any of these players, but I just think that we need it for the team. Martin should come out and Noon should replace. I just think that forward line would be structure with him in it.
With Jack Noons in there?
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I saw Jack Noons today play. He's been playing a lot more on the wing in those reserve games. So do you think you maybe want to try Jack Noons in a different position?
Yeah, I think so. And maybe Stocker can come in if he's fit
Yeah.
for Plowman.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see what happens. We're going to have a pretty quick turnaround, and then we've got to focus on Port pretty quickly, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Terry.
Love it. Thank you, my man. You have a good night.
You too.
See ya. All right. Lucky last. I've got Rocco.
Hey, how we going?
Back to reality, mate.
Oh, mate, listen, it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing, but I don't know. I think everyone's looking into it just a little bit too much here. They just relaxed. They had a bad game. Definitely got. We can go through all these stats here. We got smashed in the ruck. You know what I mean? Of course that was going to happen, man. Like he's like, how tall is he? Like 8'9", that bloke. Like how can you get the ball? How can you get your hand to the ball? We got beaten. We just lost our structure. We just couldn't get it back. We reverted back to our old habits, which happens. That's going to happen. It's all about what happens next week, guys.
Yep.
It's all about what happens next week and the week after. There was going to be losses. See, the problem is that with Carlton supporters, all of a sudden this year, right, we don't know how to lose now. Like everyone's lost at the moment. Everyone's lost. Like we won 3 games, everyone's lost. We don't know what to do anymore. This doesn't feel normal, which is, I suppose, a good thing. But I don't know. Look, there was a lot of bad mistakes. They weren't hitting targets. They were under pressure. Gold Coast brought the game to us beautifully, man. They played us perfectly, man. Around those contests, they just outplayed us every single time. It was quite I don't know. It was quite amazing to watch how easily they dissected us through those clearances. I haven't seen that in the 3 weeks. And this week they were just like, it looked like our players were getting drawn to the ball. There was no one on the outside. You know what I mean? It was just weird because that's where our strengths are at the moment is our middle work or our contested work. And we just fell away from it. And I'm a little bit disappointed that, I don't know, Voss didn't do something, or I don't know if he can do anything, but I don't know. There didn't seem to be any sort of changes today, but again, first game we lost. We'll see what happens next week and the week after.
I mean, I'm pumped to see the first 6 minutes of next week and see what the response is going to be like. That's, I mean, because of course, I'm happy with 3-0 and you're writing this thing like, oh, let's see how many games we can go without losing. But in the back of my mind, I know we're going to lose at some point. And I guess I'm not excited to lose, but I'm excited to see how we respond from our first failure. Today was a failure to win the game. So, there's only so much you can find out about things when you go and everything's going your way. But today,
it's going to be interesting through the whole week. You know what I mean? Like definitely some players didn't stand up that needed to stand up today. You know, you could see that some of the players just didn't stand up. I was, when Cripps went down, I expected a little bit more from the middle. Like I'm thinking our middle's a lot better than that. But their structure fell away. It was real weird, man. They weren't winning the ball at all. And when they were, like usually in the last few weeks, when they were winning the ball, there was someone in the right spot to receive the ball. You know what I mean? But they weren't there this time. It's like they all panicked and they didn't know what to do. That kind of worries me a bit because I expect some more leadership there. But we'll see in the next few weeks, man. There might be some rants coming up in the next few weeks, but I don't know. Kind of calm about this. We don't play well against Gold Coast in the start of the year for the last 3 years, I think. I think we get beaten every time. I think we went up there. Did we think we were having a little bit of a holiday maybe? Did we start like drinking our own bath water there?
Big questions. And next week's going to be next week's going to be a big one because, like, we're trying to implement. Really, Voss has really brought this Port Adelaide style of movement through the middle to Carlton now with the way we surge forward. That's the other thing today. Trying to think how many times did we surge forward with the overlap running and handball?
We didn't. We lost confidence and we just didn't do it. Like, it was funny. They were getting drawn to the ball. They were all going. There was times when 3 or 4 players were going for the ball in a contest. You know, there was no one on the outside. Even if we won it, there was no one there. You know what I mean? And look, I'm telling you, Gold Coast, they were relentless in their tackling and they were just relentless. And we didn't know how to cope with that because we were kind of doing that in the last 3 weeks, but we didn't know how to cope with it. So we had some leaders in the back, naturally. The back looked strong with Sard and Doherty and Williams. I think probably had one of his best games.
Absolutely.
I just saw a comment there. Plowman, mate, he still gives me the Argidor, that bloke, man. I'm telling you, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think he's the answer. But not that it's his fault, but,
of course. After watching Stocker today, I'm thinking, is he the one that comes in and, like, Plowman makes way? Is that kind of is that the next evolution of this back line where
I think so. I think just like we had to replace people like Curnow, Eddie Betts and all that kind of stuff. We have to replace Plowman, unfortunately. You know what I mean? He's another one that's got to be replaced. And I think Stocker's the man. What's he had? A couple of weeks in the reserves. Maybe there's going to have to be some sort of change next year. And the other disappointing one, Martin, man, I don't know, man, that bloke there, man, he just doesn't have it. Oh, he does. But, man, those drop marks, those kicks, like, God, man, like, we need you to stand up, mate. We need you to stand up more than 15 minutes in the last 4 weeks. I know 1 week he was injured, so here's another disappointment. And the other thing is, man, I'm going to talk about this on the show, but I know we all love the snap around the corner and that, but I'm telling you, man, it got us in trouble today, and that's going to get us in trouble in one of the big games. That's going to get us in trouble. You don't snap from 180 meters out. You don't snap. What's happened to the drop punt? Lockett, even bloody the last one who just did, Buddy, Dunstall. Just go back and what's happened to the kicking the ball straight? The one around the corner should be used on those ones that you're on the boundary, you're 20 meters out, and that. Even Curnow, he does it. Why doesn't he wait a little bit? Like, because now other teams are starting to work it out. He quickly goes on, So I'm just going to go. I know he's going to do it. So I'm just going to wait, and I'm just going to get into his space, Why doesn't he wait a little bit? I don't know, man. Like, I'm telling you, this is going to it got us in trouble today, but it's going to get us into trouble.
My take on, especially Curnow, because he did it, and he's been doing it a couple of times. Today he did it a few times when he didn't need to do it. Or when he did it, he rushed it. My take on that was that it's part of that focus. Like, if you're really locked in, you know that every opportunity is golden, and you make sure to take your time, go back. If it's a set shot, go back. But even if you are going to go around the body, at least give yourself time and space to do it. And I just think
you give yourself time and space, you give the team some time and space. You've got 30 seconds. You have to use the 30 seconds. Like, I don't know. Like, it's been working, so we all go, yay, But I'm telling you, it works until it doesn't work anymore, Like, man, I never saw Favola snap over the corner, and he kicked over like 700, whatever he kicked, like 600, 700 goals, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it because I'm telling you, the day that we need to stand back and drill a goal, right, it's going to fuck us up. It's going to stuff us up. So that was another little thing. But they're like little things. We're going to nitpick this game badly now. We're going to see this. We're going to see we did this. That's good. We're going to see how we're going to react next year. I'm really interested in Voss to see the way he reacts I haven't watched the press conference, but I'm interested to see the press conference. He's been saying all the right things. Can he get the team up this week? And now it looks like we're going to be without the captain for at least a couple of weeks. So now that midfield really has to stand up, even though they have been, but someone's got to become a leader. I don't want to blame Walsh. He did all right, like he fought, I thought he was going to stand. I was waiting for it was going to be his moment today, but it wasn't, so it wasn't. And they kept missing that. Oh, anyway, it's bad, but I'm not that down about it yet. Yeah.
Next week, we will have a lot more to know about what tonight was, I feel.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to go to work in the next few days because I've been kind of giving it to a few people for a bit of a laugh. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to come at me, so I'm going to have to take it. So that's it. And the other thing is, the jumper punch are going to be interesting this week because we're not used to losing. So I don't know what's going to come out this week. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, we look forward to it, mate. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat to you soon.
Done deal. See you guys.
All right, see you, mate. All right, there's the round 4 fan cams. Bit of a mixed bag there. Obviously, everyone sees it a little differently. I'm in the camp of not panicking yet. I think we got exposed a little bit as to what happens when we don't bring our full energy. I didn't think we had our full energy tonight, as what we've seen over the last few weeks. And I think that's a big part of the reason why we weren't able to get on top of the Suns. And they were obviously coming off some disappointing patches over the last few weeks, and they needed a performance like this tonight, especially at home. So let's just calm down a little bit, I say. But it's not a worrying sign yet. Maybe some of you are seeing some things, but we'll see next week. It's all about the test of losing. What do you do when you lose, and whether that's in footy, even in life as well. What happens when things don't go your way? And today's one of those. So I'm keen for the response. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will. You know what? I'm going to get the review out tonight. I'm going to pump it out right now after this, and might have some dinner first, and we'll go from there. So thanks to everybody that tuned in to the watch along. To the fan cams tonight. We will chat to you soon, and we will dissect